Block, and I'd like to invite all to stand for the pledge of the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome everyone to the March 14, 2018. We had a snow out for our last meeting, and we made this meeting the March 7th meeting, of course, on the 14th. Minutes of February 21st. We have a motion to approve the minutes of February 21st.
You do, I so move.
We have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Financial report and disbursement of funds. Do we have a motion to approve the financial report and disbursement of funds?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that at all? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item up, we have a proposal from Clifton, Larson, Allen to perform the town of Elkton's annual audit for fiscal years 18, 19, and 2020. Presented for approval. Steve Repo, I think you have that information for us, and I know you sent it to us earlier.
Yes, last February, we received a 3-year proposal from Clifton, Larson, Allen, who is our current auditors. Again, for the audit for each of the next 3 years, for the current fiscal year and the subsequent fiscal years, at a price that is about 2% greater than what we paid for the audit of last year. And then the next 2019-2020 with steady prices. With that, Clifton, Larson, Allen, in some form or other, I believe the town had Jess Crouch at one time. That predates me, and then it became Wooden and Benson. I think it was put out for bid, and then Wooden and Benson were the auditors, which then merged or were acquired by Clifton Gunderson, which then became Clifton, Larson, Allen. And even though it's in the same firm, there are different people that come each year. In fact, the current partner in charge of this engagement has to retire at the end of the following calendar year, so he will be in it for just one more year. He'll be phasing out, bringing in another partner. The auditor is actually the field work in charge. They have a turnover, so although it's somewhat the same firm, they've merged over the years, but there are different people actually conducting audits. So any concerns with being too familiar with it, it's a little bit mitigated by the fact that there are just normal turnovers in that industry.
How do you feel as far as staff working with that group?
I think we're very good with them, and they know us, we know them. Again, they have different every year. Every year they concentrate on something different. They can't, of course, cover each and every year. Of course, they're given some direction from the state what they want to look at in any given year. So we work well with them, and it's time consuming when they're here, and they're here for about 2 weeks, but when they're not here, they're kind of still here because there's a lot of back and forth with requested information. But I think we have a good working relationship. I think they do a good job, and I would recommend the town continue with Clifton, Larson, Allen.
We had, I know that you sent it out to the board, and I think there was one comment or two comments about this, and one of them was whether or not we should put this out on bid. And the amount of this is how much?
I think it was 44,200 for the audit of this fiscal year. If we're thinking about the procurement policy, accounting services, legal services are two of the categories that do not require a bid. That doesn't mean you can't, but it's not required.
John, do you have any input on this at all, or how do you feel?
To the extent we have a working relationship with them, the price seems reasonable in the circumstances given the work involved.
As
given his recommendation, I would say I
How's the board feel collectively? Do you think it's, do you want to? Well, listen, how about if I call for a motion to, and then we'll see how that goes. I'd like to call for a motion to approve Clifton, Larson, Allen to perform the town of Elkton annual audit for the next 3 years as presented by Stephen Repo. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second for discussion?
Second.
Any discussion?
I say that as long as we know that it's within limits as far as the amount, I know you have probably engaged with anybody else but they know what they're looking for and they know the way around it, so I just want to say.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Ms. Jean Minner is going to present to us the Planning Department 2017 Annual Report that she gives to the Department of Planning on our behalf.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So you have before you the 2017 annual report, annual planning report. The land use article in the annotated code of Maryland requires that the planning commission prepare, adopt, and file an annual report with the local legislative body. This document's been prepared for the town of Elkton by the town of Elkton Department of Planning to satisfy that requirement. So the format and the content of the report covers the development activity that has occurred in the town of Elkton during the calendar year 2017. This activity includes major and minor subdivisions, rezonings, annexations, special exceptions, variances, appeals, historic district work permits, historic district designations, building permits, and site plans. This information is presented in a summary fashion. So we also, the land use article also requires that the annual report state whether changes in land use patterns which occurred during the period covered in the report are consistent with our comprehensive plan. So this document will cover the rezoning, special exceptions, variances, and subdivisions, activity in the Chesapeake Bay critical area, and other associated projects. I can either describe each of the activities, or if you want, I can just let you peruse it at your leisure.
I think that we've, if you can highlight each page real quickly
Sure.
for us, and I know as you're going through there, you're going to talk about total permits and so forth. Just give us a highlight of each page as you flip it.
Okay, so it discusses applications that have been processed for residential subdivisions, regular subdivision plats for commercial land, site plans, special exceptions, critical area permits, historic district work permits, rezonings, building permits, but probably, and then it lists the commissions, the Planning Commission, the Elkton Board of Appeals, and the Historic District Commission.
Yep.
The staff in the Planning Department.
Yep.
And then it goes on to building permits for residential dwellings.
And that's where I wanted you to stop and tell the board, and I want to tell the folks of our town, we went through freezing our major facility fees for a period of time, and I'm not so happy to report that we've had 0
Residential building
residential buildings in 2017. And I think that's important for us to know. There was 0 building permits for residential building in 2017. That was where I was wanting you to get to.
However, on the commercial side, it's a little brighter.
Yes, lay it on us, commercial.
Okay, so we had, for Union Hospital, there was a concept and final plan for a substance abuse, I think it is, treatment center. It's not been built yet. Chick-fil-A came in with a revised plat for their stacking situation in their parking lot. Walmart is building, actually it's probably up already, a training facility in their parking lot. That's under construction. The shops at Elkton received an occupancy on Route 40. First Gladwin Corporation is going to build a small office building and an additional phase of their storage facility, the small mini warehouse facility on Warner Road. And I think that's it for that.
Very good.
Had some work in the historic district. We've had some amendments to the ordinance, which has been before this board, the zoning ordinance.
Thank you so much. Do you need us to make a motion to accept that?
Yes, please.
Do we have a motion to accept the 2017 annual report that we're going to send to the Maryland Department of Planning as presented by Ms. Jean Moore?
Also move.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on that at all?
I just want to say thank you, Jean. She does a great job.
No, thank you.
And
It's a
Thank
team
you.
effort. It's not just me, it's a team effort.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Jean.
Pardon?
Oh,
There's more.
We've got
All
more.
right, there's more.
Nice picture.
Yeah.
You took
We had a
those.
great photographer on board.
Yeah.
Again, team effort.
Okay, next Jean is going to talk about the Elk Landing Foundation request for support for an application to the American Historic Trust for a capital grant amount of $100,000. Tell us a little bit about what we're doing.
Maryland Historic Trust used to have regular capital grant program where you could apply for funding for construction. Money's been tight for the past few years, and finally, this year, they were able to fund another capital grant program. So, the Elk Landing Foundation, which has done a lot of work down there at the historic Elk Landing site, as you know, they've spent and raised a lot of money to stabilize this building. I think it was in 2008, 2009, where the walls were actually all that was left of the building. But they were able to stabilize it with bond fill money and Maryland Historic grant money, and put a roof on it, put subfloors in it, and did some foundation work and rebuilt the chimneys. Well, the next phase is we need windows and doors. And so this next grant round, the Historic Elk Landing Foundation is requesting letters of support for their grant application for $100,000 to have the windows rebuilt. There's a total of 15 windows. There's some little ones in the attic, and there's little transom ones over the doors. But it's a total of 15 windows and 3 doors. There's a door in the front, and then there's 2 doors on the side that open out to the porch at one time. Actually, the log cabin, the original log cabin structure was here. So we're going to try to compete and get some funding to finish the outside, button it up. We've been having trouble with bees getting into the building, and it's really not watertight inside proof at this point. And then the next phase would be to start work on the inside of the building, to restore the inside of the building. We had a few folks down from Maryland Historic Trust on Friday. They spent 3 hours at the site, walking through both the Hollingsworth Mansion and this townhouse.
What was their interest or what they having?
The gentleman, Michael Day, who I believe is in charge of the grant program, was walking his associates through. He's going to be retiring in about 1.5 years, and he wants to bring them up to speed. And they probably also want to take a peek at the projects that are coming up for grant applications.
And I believe that through our research, we know that this is one of the, if not the oldest, Swedish properties in the state of Maryland. If not, maybe in the United States. I'm not 100% sure of that. But do we have a motion to approve the support letter?
so moved.
Got a motion and a second, any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
Excited about that project.
Yeah.
Some money from Sweden?
Pardon?
Get some money from Sweden.
From Sweden.
Well, that might not be far-fetched, huh? Okay, Lou, you were on.
First item I have is a recognition for Brandon and Nicole Hollendahl, which I'll read. Be it known, the mayor and commissioners and citizens of Elkton hereby recognize the outstanding community service of Brandon and Nicole Hollendahl. Brandon and Nicole have continually invested their time, love, and talent by giving back to the community. Their tireless efforts for the success of Elkton and their involvement in numerous community-based boards and committees throughout Cecil County demonstrate that they are not driven by the need for reward or recognition, but by a sincere desire to share their positive energy and blessings with their neighbors. We sincerely appreciate and congratulate Brandon and Nicole Hollenball, and hereby presented this certificate of special recognition as Citizens of the Year 2017.
Do we have a motion to approve proclamation P3-2018?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries.
Next item I have is ordinance 3-2018. This was presented, public hearings have been held by both the town and by the Elkton Planning Commission. It was introduced on the 21st of February and is subject to adoption at today's date, which is the 14th. And this ordinance provides that I'll read it because it's short, owners of a residential dwelling located on a lot recorded prior to 1970, which by the adoption of subsequent zoning ordinance was made non-conforming with regard to setbacks, may request a variance as to setbacks required for improvements to the residence, so long as the improvement complies with all other requirements of the zoning ordinance. Essentially what happens here is people who have recorded lots or had improved lots prior to 1970 will not be able to make improvements on those lots today because of our zoning ordinance. So this allows them the latitude to apply for variance so they can make improvements on their property. So I would recommend the mayor and commissioners pass this or enact this ordinance.
We have a motion to accept for adoption ordinance 3-2018.
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion for this ordinance presented for adoption? Did the planning board look at this? It has.
Yes.
Very good. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next I have is a deed that was presented to the mayor and commissioners by Bakersfield LLC to the town for the area off Red Hill Road that includes Bend Boulevard, public common open space, neighborhood park, areas for an imaginary area for detention area, and proposed overflow parking on that project up there. I'm sure the board's familiar with Hickman up there on the right. And this basically, they have met all the criteria under the Public Works Agreement for the town to accept the property. And I would recommend that the board accept the deed for that property at this time.
We have a motion to accept the deed from Bakersfield LLC for the conveyance of Bend Boulevard, the public common open space and neighborhood park area, the storm management area, the forest retention area, and proposed overflow parking area. We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on that at all? Hearing none, all in favor? Motion carries.
I forgot to mention that town council has reviewed that also, so it's okay.
Thank you.
That's the end of my.
Very good. You think I should let you? Yeah, you can. This evening, we received an email just a short time ago that one of the candidates that was going to run for town commissioner in the May 8th election, Ms. Nicole Hammond, has rescinded her application for the position of town commissioner. There's a personal issue that's coming up, and she felt that she would be able to give 100%, and we wish Nicole all the best. Hope everything works out for her. I'm not exactly sure how that works in our election process, but I'm sure John, you'll take a look at that, and I don't know exactly what happens with that. Thank
In the
you.
meantime, with that letter, I know she was going to reach out to you, Mary Jo, because with that being said, she not being able to do that, maybe there are some activities that you can involve her with the Elkton Alliance and some downtown activities. She did mention that as well, which I knew was
Okay.
so if you find a need for her, she'll be willing.
All right.
Very good. Very good. We had a town workshop today, which I thought went very, very well. It was a scheduled workshop. We discussed a lot of different things. One in particular we talked about was the permitting process for special events, for road closures, for closing parking lots, anything like that that has to do with the town. And I suggested that we move forward with the first step always going through our Elkton Alliance and Chambers. On all events, I would go through them first. I would recommend that any event that calls into Town Hall, we would refer them down to the Elkton Chamber and Alliance first. And we would create, which we actually started creating that checklist that we would give to the Alliance about checking off the items that is needed before a special event can happen. Is the board okay with that? I don't think that we...
I am.
Very good.
I like it.
I don't think we need to vote on that, but I think, let's carve that in stone. Is everyone good with that? That's good, right direction?
It's in stone.
Perfect, beautiful. I also wanted to mention that the Lucky Charm race, did we go through the proper process of closing that? It's just a joke. We have the Mayor's Lucky Charm 5K race. I'm glad to see that we've got a lot of participants in the town gonna race or run or walk in our first ever. And the whole purpose of the cross-country race was, one, to show off Marina Park, not Marina Park, Meadow Park East, around the hatchery area, but also I wanted to show that it's very possible that we might be able to do 5K runs in the future that we won't have an impact on closing of the streets if this works out good, and it seems like it could possibly a good race. In fact, I think that we might be able to come up with several different 5K trails within the town itself that would take very minimal impact on closures. I think that that's one of the directions that I'd like to go here. Not to say that we won't have the street races like we've had in the past, but I would like to see how much we can enjoy our nature walks and allow people to see how nice that looks. So the race is at 10 a.m. Everyone's setting up at Meadow Park. I think it's going to be a fun event on St. Patrick's Day. We've got a busy, busy weekend in Elkton this weekend. So I'm very excited about that. At our workshop, we also had a consensus of the board to move forward with the inviting the contractors to come in to take a look at this build and design of a new construction of a new building, so that we can move forward and gain more information on the actual firm cost for this. So we're going to put a budget number out there of $3 million for the construction of the building, and see what the design build group can come back at. And I saw Commissioner Givens did already send an email out to the board about some of the space of the actual hand drawing that we put together that we'll present to the design and build people at our workshop in May. We've been going through the budgeting process with the department heads. I can tell you, once again, it's been a very easy process. I think that all the department heads so far have been spot on with their reports. They've came through, they've listed what we had budgeted last year, what we're budgeting this year, and they're providing a great explanation on their needs for fiscal 19. I get a little confused with that, but for fiscal 19, they've come up with collectively, and I think that we're still looking at our revenue sources currently right now. I can, without a doubt, tell the people of the town of Elkton that we're in very good financial shape for fiscal 19, and there won't be any change in our rate for fiscal 19. think I'm saying that correctly. All right. We also, at our workshop meeting, we had Union Hospital was here, and they discussed ways that maybe we could traffic calm the High Street property again. And I think that there were some great points brought up by my board members on exactly how we could possibly, let's exhaust all of our options before we go to the final stage. And I think that there's what things that we can look at, and I'm looking forward to that. With that, that's all I have to say. Mary Jo, do you have anything this evening?
Just the events that are happening this weekend, stop downtown, there's a little bit of everything going on. Also tomorrow is a celebration of an Elkton business, Kitty Academy, celebrating 25 years in the town of Elkton, and that's Wendy Berkeley Berry. Put in the last name. So there's a lot going on. Central Tavern will be opening Friday for lunch. And then the grand opening will be next Friday, the 23rd at 4 p.m. That's all I have.
Earl?
Yeah, I just have one point that I wanted to bring up. Mr. Lemon made a good suggestion today in our meeting, and talked about the Parks and Rec, trying to find some place for them to go in case of bad weather, whatever. Mr. Lewis George, I'm going to state this: if you can find out the connections we need to have with the Armory, if you don't want to talk to them, I will sit and negotiate some kind of a deal with whoever has that surplus property. I would like to have a discussion, since they wanted to offer us a solution to use the building. I'd like to counter offer them, if you can sit me up a time, a meeting with whoever's in charge.
Maybe we could invite that person to come in front of our board,
Because
if it's
A
possible.
sergeant out of their facility in Baltimore.
Yeah.
That's who it is.
Only reason is
I
that
don't know if they'll come here.
in case of bad weather, hot weather, whatever, at least if the building's not being used, if it can be used a little bit, it'd be a good chance for us to either make some kind of partnership with them, if things can work. So
Very good.
I'll designate myself to do that, if you don't mind, if you don't want to talk to them.
I did talk to him.
But you can't talk like me. You can't talk like me.
Yeah.
I'll talk to them.
I'll let you talk.
I'll talk to them.
I'll get you, I'll get you a number.
Does he call?
Charlie?
Okay.
Anything else, Earl?
Now, that's it, thanks.
All right.
Mary Jo, that the new establishment is called Central,
Yeah,
and why is it spelled the way it is?
because their last name is begins with a C, the son is a C, and their dog is a C. So that's the 3 C's.
Oh, now you know, Gene. I'm serious. I was just asking her, why do you come up with that? Now I understand. That's it.
Thank you. Gene?
That's all you had? That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing, since we're getting into the season of the car shows, I just want to bring up, I'd like to really see us be a little more parking friendly, or as parking friendly as possible for visitors. We have this parking lot behind the old town hall that you can't even access during those types of events, because, you know, it's blocked off on North Street, and a particular business person won't let us through off of Singerly. So I was thinking, even, you know, instead of putting a barricade up at the pizza shop, if we could just maybe back it up a little bit to the entrance, maybe, to the parking, so that people can come down and actually get to the events. I know we have to block off streets for safety reasons and all, but sometimes I think we always block them off a little too early too. You know, giving people a chance to get in here for a lot of events. So that's my only concern.
That's a good point, so that we could use that parking lot. If we move the barricade off of Bow Street and come up another 20 feet, they could use that parking lot.
Yes.
It's a good idea. Excellent.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Gene. Let's see what we can do about that. Maybe it could be worked out, I don't know.
Actually, the man that can do that's right there. When
No,
these people
well-
set up the barricades, they can set it up at 117 West Main Street, and that way people can get up that street and go in that parking lot.
Now, they
We'll
would have to be
somebody
allowed
It's
to come
easy,
out.
it's an easy solution.
What?
You close it up, you can keep it closed street, but somebody, we can let them in, because we got people who man it, you can just drive right to the parking lot, it's the easiest way of doing it. The reason why they move the barricades back is they don't know what they're doing, and they have to do a U-turn.
But you can't get through there for certain property owners blocking it.
Right.
So how do you get into the
You
parking lot?
turn, you turn back around at the very end of the day, that's what you have to do. In other words, when you do the parking lot, you're in for the whole car show.
You wouldn't be able to make a right.
Exactly.
Coming out? Well, I think we could have somebody there willing to make a right.
Yeah, we can, well, I mean,
I mean,
the
it's
place
only-
is
it's only
typically manned,
20
you can let them in that
Mhm.
way, yes.
There's gonna be somebody standing there to barricade anyway.
Dan, you're in charge.
Yeah, yeah, that we can do, right. Very
All right.
easy, the same spot, we can let them in the parking lot, we can do that. Point.
Dan's in
Thank
charge.
you.
He's in charge.
Got it.
All right, this is the time of the meeting. We open up the floor for the public. If they have any questions, comments, now is your time to speak. Seeing none, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you. It was a long day for us. It was a long day.
Start with talking in the morning.
I didn't see this. No, I didn't notice that. I noticed now.